Hello everyone, welcome to your class on using machine learning with linear regression. Because this is an earlier chapter, we're going to go through only a couple aspects of that data science and machine learning process that I illustrated in the first section, and we're going to build up to the remaining parts of that flow chart later on. So you're going to learn kind of the very basics of what makes a machine learning model possible using something that I hope is a little bit familiar to you. In these classes, you should have some basic understanding of statistics. So understanding what linear regression is and what a slope looks like are all kind of prerequisites to understand. I'm going to go through and explain everything and give you a reminder, but if this is really kind of out there stuff for you, I recommend that you go on Wikipedia and do some background research on what a linear regression is. Okay? So what you're going to learn in this class is we're going to remind you of how linear regressions work. We're also going to talk about the cost function for linear regression. So I know that it seems like, why do you need machine learning for linear regression? We have a system that basically works and does it just fine. I mean, you're basically just trying to draw a straight line in the middle of a bunch of points. But using a machine learning method actually allows you to incorporate a bunch of different features into your independent or dependent variable in order to kind of combine feature spaces. So you don't just have one X or one independent variable, and you can find the optimum line for combinations of variables and increase like the process to a polynomial regression even. So we're going to learn about the cost function for regression models, which is the mean squared error. I'll remind you what this is if you're not familiar with it, and we're going to go through that in this class quite a bit. And then we're going to talk about applying aspects of the machine learning process I described before, and then build up to the more additional things later. So in this class, we're going to be remember the process I told you about. So the first thing a data scientist does when doing a machine learning process is they evaluate the problem and come up with a hypothesis or an expectation, a way of modeling the problem that they see. It requires like determining what variables and what categories of information are important, as well as what models are appropriate in order to analyze that kind of thing. Next, in processing, we take the data that we have and manipulate it into the forms that we need in order to do our machine learning analysis. You'll probably hear that that 90% of data science is data processing. This might be a slight exaggeration, but you do spend a lot of time wrangling your data and getting data into the ways that you need it in order to do the things that you want, the analysis that you want. And then once you have your data all ready to go, you start to build your model. You need to consider things like learning rates and cost functions and other parameters that are important for your machine learning model that are specific to that model. Once you have that model built, you then split your data in some way. We're going to do very simple splitting for these examples, but it'll get more advanced as we do more chapters. So we're just going to split right now into train and test, but at some point or other, we're going to do k-fold cross-validation. And then we test. So we train our model with that split data. We give our model some information for it to learn from, and then we use that information that we preserve to do some sort of accuracy test or measure. Okay. So what we are going to talk about in this class is the bottom three steps. We're going to build our model, understand what our learning rate and cost functions are. We're going to split our data, and we're going to analyze our data. We are going to just use like some sample information from scikit-learn, one of their data sets, just to start out. And as we get more used to the process, I'm going to introduce steps above later on. Okay? So without further ado, what is a linear regression model look like? When we look at a graph, what should we be expecting? And it looks something like this. You'll see here I have what is called a scatter plot, and that's because we have a graph with an x and a y axis, and we have a bunch of points that represent coordinates. At the moment, this is not a fantastic labeled graph because we don't know what the predictions and true values actually represent. A graph that is very illuminating should have all the information that you need, but the whole point of this is I want to talk about what this all means, and then like what the categories are, and like how to talk about this information, and then we can describe what is actually going on under the hood here. So our x-axis has some information that looks like it's a floating point. It says true values. You'll see here that it ranges between negative 0.1 to about, let's say, just before 0.2. It looks like 0.6 or 0.7 on the x-axis, labeled true values. And on the y-axis, it looks like we have integers, or at least numbers that range much more significantly from about, 45 to 350. And each of these points are representing an xy coordinate for that data. And what we've drawn in black dotted line here is a linear regression line. So this line, what we're trying to analyze is how much of this information, the relationship or the behavior of the relationship, is correlated in a very linear way. So for every like 1 unit of x, we would expect, a certain amount of units from y, and basically constant and stable. And if you remember your grade school math, what we see at the top here is our slope function. So this is the function that is needed to create this line. So if you replace any value of x here, whatever the subsequent y is will land somewhere on this line. Okay. And how this analysis is done is by traditionally is just by generating a bunch of lines and seeing how much the points land in the middle. And how we do that calculation is using a cost function. It's not called a cost function in traditional statistics. It's called the mean squared error. And what this is we find the minimal amount of error that our line can create. And we determine error by, if we give an x value, how close is our predicted y response for that y to the point that it actually is supposed to be. And what that means is we check basically the distances between points and the line. And whatever line has the least amount of error, has the smallest mean squared error, is the optimal line that is split right in the middle of that data. Okay? So what this function is saying is, I know it looks very confusing, but I'm going to go through it step by step with you. Okay? All right, everyone. So what does all this mean? First off, I just want to show you that I've kind of drawn out a very, very simple scatter plot with 2 points and very simple Cartesian plane here, 1 to 4 on the x and 1 to 3 on the y. So what the mean squared error is, if we have this hypothetical regression line and this set of data, what all of this information is telling us is yi means the y coordinate for a sampled data point. So we have 2 pieces of data here. I is being represented as for any given point of data that we have, what is the y coordinate for it, okay? And if we give that, and what this is saying, what this number, this yi with this tilde on top, what this is saying is what is the predicted y for that position if we had for our regression line given the x coordinate that we put into it. So what I mean by that specifically is that, okay, suppose we have our regression line at 1 here. What would we expect from from our estimate, our linear regression of what the y should be if we fed it the number 1? You would expect it, let me change that to red. We would expect it to be 1. However, for the data point that we have, it's actually 2, and that means that there is a distance of 1 between the real value and the predicted value, okay? And when we subtract the real value, the observed value from the predicted value, we get a distance score, basically, where if it predicted it exactly, if this point was actually on the line like we were hoping it would be, what would this subtraction come out to? It would be, 1 minus 1, which equals 0. So we're trying to get the minimum score, a minimum squared error from this data. So we can try a bunch of different lines and try and reduce the distance between all points and this line. Whatever line reduces that score to its minimum is what we would consider our linear regression line, and what we can then determine our mx plus b coordinates around. What else do we see here in this formula? We see that this thing is squared. Why is it important that it's squared? Well, what happens in a case like this one here, where our regression line says that we would expect it to be, let's say, like 1.5, but the actual observed value was closer to 1. So what this function would end up doing, or the subtraction, you'd have a negative number, okay? So turns out, and that would end up, if you have a bunch of positive numbers, you might actually end up getting a mean squared error that isn't like the true optimal line, because the difference between the predicted and the observed values are doing this sign difference, this plus or minus. So what happens when we square this subtraction is that all of them get squared, but it actually ends up removing any sign issues, such that, if we had a negative, what's a negative times a negative? Well, it's a positive number, and a positive times a positive is a positive number. So you end up getting, a squared number. However, it's always in the same direction. So that's why this whole thing is squared here. What this whole chunk is saying is that for all of your data points, you want to do this subtraction method between the predicted and the observed value. What this literally means is this symbol is called sigma, and this is what we use in math to illustrate the term sum. We want to sum up all of these differences, and this top and bottom number is just saying starting from the first piece of data, I equals 0. Or I equals 1, and then n usually means how many data points you have. So in this case, we have 2. So we go through and do the subtraction method for the first and maximum length data point, which is 2. And then as a convention, because we did this squaring, we then we then divide this summation by the total amount of samples. And I'm going to show you the mean squared error when we start to code later on. So that is how the mean squared error is used as a cost function for machine learning. Now that we have some sort of way of optimizing a value or a number, our machine learning model can then make all different types of lines to see which line is, the optimal or has the least mean squared error. And I know what you're saying right now. What makes machine learning regression different than just your basic regression? Well, I'll get into that next. So let's just move on to the next part, shall we? Okay, we are back to our scatter plot example here with a bunch of data that we're going to look at soon and a real linear regression that I plotted without using machine learning. So what I'm going to show you next is a linear regression model that I did the exact same process with. I took just one x value, one parameter, and then one y value. I trained a linear regression model on that xy data, and then I split it between train and test data. I then used the test data, the test x data, to predict the y. And I'm going to show you what that looks like with blue dots here. So what you're seeing is you probably might actually be able to see a handful of points, about maybe 10 to 20%, that are missing from this graph to this. Actually, no, I plotted all of them. I then plotted the test data to this graph as blue dots, where I fed x's into my learned model, and I got it to output predictions, which were the y output. And as you'll see, the machine learning model also is hitting this optimized line that is typically used in inferential statistics quite frequently. However, what machine learning linear regression is really good at doing is that, okay, what you're actually seeing here, I'm going to tell you what the data is. On the x-axis, this is body mass index, and on the y-axis, this is a generalized score for likelihood of diabetes in an individual. This is a data set in scikit-learn that we're going to play with. However, that data set has all kinds of things that you can use as x variables. So it's not super easy with traditional linear regression methods to say, hey, I want to make a straight line using all of these variables and change the weights of each of the contributions of them to this model and find an optimized line. Usually it's not very easy to do that. You have to run like a bunch of different lines and see what ends up happening. So what I've done in the next slide is I've taken about 10 different x variables and fed them into a machine learning linear regression model to create a hopefully more accurate regression line that is more representative of or more accurate at determining diabetes from all different types of parameters like age, height, and weight, as well as BMI. So what did that end up looking like? So our feature space now is a little bit different, meaning that I'm not just using BMI, it's a multiplication of a bunch of different features. And these are the red dots are the data with that converted x value, and the blue dots are the predicted as well. So what we're seeing here is that when we combine all these features, it's not as clear what's going on. However, it does appear that this linear regression model was able to learn, some aspect of the behavior that was going on. This is a common problem in machine learning, is that the more features you add to your model, the more convoluted and difficult it is to interpret what is actually going on. So you end up having to either use more complex models or more refined analysis in order to get interpretability out of the model, even though the model itself appears to have learned something. Okay, guys, that is the basics of machine learning with linear regression that I wanted to go over with you. We're going to go into this in a little more detail in our next section, and then we're going to get into the code a little bit more as well. Okay, so with that, guys, see you next class.